Hi everyone, I'm just checking in. It is Monday and Labor Day. I get an extra day off this weekend because of Labor Day. Friday I started A Court of Thorns and Roses, read it about 25% of the way through, and then I finished it completely on Saturday. It was a fantastic story. I probably could have finished it within one day had I started it sooner in the day. I absolutely love the story of A Court of Thorns and Roses. I hear it's supposed to be a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, and I can see that somewhat, but it's not a complete retelling because it feels so unique in its story. But then again, I saw some other people talking about it, how it was based off of an old Irish legend called Tamlin, which makes sense because one of the main characters' names was Tamlin. So I'm actually really interested in looking into the original story. So if you're unfamiliar with A Court of Thorns and Roses, which you probably aren't, I'm probably one of the few that is late to the party. It's about a girl, and her name is Feyre. Feyre is basically a breadwinner. She is the one that is supporting her family, and she also happens to be the youngest in her family. She has two older sisters and a father. She goes out and she hunts and she sells what she doesn't need for her family, and basically she's the breadwinner of the family. She earns the money, she gets the food, and she doesn't really seem very respected in the family. Like her sisters, more like one sister completely disrespects her or doesn't like her, and her father really never stands up for her either, and he seems kind of like without a backbone. So I really didn't enjoy her family dynamics. But anyway, one day she happens to kill a wolf who happens to be a fairy, and that is supposedly against the rules because there was a treaty between humans and fairies that they wouldn't attack each other and they would live on separate areas. And I guess there's this invisible wall that prevents humans from going into the fairy realm. Anyway, one day a fairy shows up and basically barges into their home and says that because she killed a fairy, that she must give her life over and live with him. So she thinks she's going to live a life of like servitude. But basically he kind of just takes her over to the fairy realm. And she kind of learns more about the fairy folk and their customs, which I found extremely interesting. I thought the rites were kind of strange but fun. This is a romance story, and there are quite a few memorable characters, but then there's some characters that are pretty flat. I gave this a 5-star because I enjoyed myself, and I know that people either love this story or they hate the story, and right now I'm one of the poor innocent children that love Tamlin, and I've actually seen a couple of comments saying like they can't stand him, and I'm like, why? Because I feel like Rhysand is way more problematic based on what happened towards the end, and I see a lot of Rhysand fans and a huge fandom for Rhysand. But I don't know what the hate is for Tamlin, and it makes me nervous to continue the series because I really, really like Tamlin, and yeah, I enjoy his character. He's just one of those like strong, respectable type of characters. Anyway, he seems like he has got good morals, and he seems like he cares for her, and that's why I really liked him. But then again, I don't know. So I'm nervous. I'm gonna start getting into some spoilers because I like the book that much that I want to talk about it. I've heard that a studio has bought the rights to this story, but nothing has come from it yet, and I'm really anxious to see it adapted. I think it would do really well on film. I think a lot of people would support it and enjoy it, and it would bring the story to more of the general public, because I think people are really missing out on this storyline. Yeah, Rhysand, to me, like, he's an interesting character, but like, I just don't understand the fandom behind him, especially how he kind of pulled the whole, it felt like the Jabba the Hutt Princess Leia bit with Feyre, when he had her dress up kind of in like gauzy, barely anything covered cloth, and like forced her to dance and be with other people and sit in their laps and stuff. It just felt really weird. It felt like a Jabba the Hutt moment, and how he had Princess Leia all chained up, and I was just like, wow, that's kind of gross. But I understand that he was supposedly trying to play the field in a way, like he was trying to trick the main baddie, Amarantha, into believing that he was kind of like on her side and kind of trying to anger Tamlin even more. So when he believed that he would get free, that he would, you know, have a lot of anger built up and be able to just like blast her away. There are moments in this story that are extremely cheesy, and I realize that, but I was okay with it, I guess. So like the whole riddle about love, yeah, it's a bit cringy, but it was fine, and it felt a little over dramatic, but I was fine with it. I didn't get to the point where I'm like, oh, I'm closing this. I was just kind of like relieved that the whole thing was like coming to an end, and that there was going to be a breaking of the curse. And the curse to me is a little bit cheesy too, because it just feels like super specific, and it just was like, okay, how specific, more specific can you get? I don't know, it just seemed kind of weird. But then again, it's very much like a fairy tale, and it kind of reminded me of like fairy tale curses, and I just kind of accepted it, though it is a little bit strange how like it's so specific. Anyway, I thought the trials were kind of fun. The lever one was kind of weird though. Like, I get how she beat it, but what was the point of that trial? Like, did I miss that she knew that she couldn't read and it was like a form of like mental torture? But I just didn't understand why. Was that even a trial? Why was that even a trial? So weird. Lucien, I really enjoyed his character. I thought he was pretty funny. I like the way he was described. He seems put out by everyone, but I think he's got a heart of gold on the inside, and I'm interested to see what happens with his character. I'd read a prequel about his character, like what happened to him and his love. What else do I have? Yeah, Feyre was okay. She made a lot of like mistakes, and she went around, she did not listen to a lot of advice, which I thought was fine. I get it. It sometimes can be kind of frustrating when a character puts themselves into bad situations over and over again. But then again, it like propels the story forward, and I get that that can be frustrating sometimes to people as well. But I feel like if there aren't problematic issues, and if there aren't characters that make bad decisions, we don't get something to talk about as a group. And yeah, it makes the story more interesting when you have something that you can talk about or discuss. So I get why things like that kept happening to Feyre. Let me pause right here. My neighbor's dog is barking like crazy. So overall, I really like the relationship between Tamlin and Feyre. I felt like he really wanted her highest good. like the few problematic scenes that he had, like at the ferry rite and the pinning her thing after the ferry rite. I like felt like it was alright to add in the story because he is a supernatural creature. I don't really usually read fairy stories, but this definitely opened my perspective. The fairies in the story kind of remind me of, like, in a way, the way sometimes vampires have been portrayed. Just like the perfect stature, kind of statuesque. Anyway, I thought it was pretty good, but like I definitely ship Tamlin and Feyre, and I'm kind of nervous to see where this goes. I went ahead and bought the next few books in the series, and yeah, I'm nervous to start it just to see what happens to their relationship and everything. I thought it was interesting that she became a fairy at the end, and I didn't quite understand what happened to Rhys when he disappeared at the end. So if anyone could explain that, or if it's a spoiler, don't explain it. I'll figure it out in the next book. I hope whoever the baddie is in the next book, if there's a baddie, that they're a little more realistic and less cartoonish evil than Amarantha. But yeah, overall I really enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think of A Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm gonna stop my vlog right here. I'm reading, I think it's called Plantation Shutters right now, which is a little mystery, and I'm also reading another Silhouette Shadows book called The Secrets of Sebastian Beaumont or something like that, which also happens to take place on a plantation. I don't know how that happened either. One is in Louisiana and the other one is set in I think it was South America, because she had to go to like a little island off of like South America or something like that. Anyway, I have to double check on that. But really both are kind of interesting so far, but I will get back to you when I finish them. So anyway, hope you guys are having a great weekend, and I'm just gonna keep reading. Hey, Spooky, 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 Spooky Boca, Spooky Blue, Spooky Blueberry Muffin. This is my Spooky Blue. My Spooky Blue. My Spooky Blue. My blue. Hey everyone, just checking in. It is Tuesday. I started a Court of Mist and Fury on Monday night. So far I'm really enjoying it, but oh my gosh, like I don't even know what to think. Okay, so spoilers really quick. I ship Tamlin and Feyre a lot, but there are some obviously problematic issues after both of them had their like transformative experience. Tamlin is very like overprotective of Feyre and kind of like locking her in like she's a prisoner, which I understand why she has like an issue with that. She wants to go out and she wants to be a part of everything. She wants to train herself because she has all these new powers, and Rhysand is taking her away and kind of training her with those powers right now. and he interrupted her wedding, which she was about to marry Tamlin, but she also was about to say no, because she feels trapped, really, is what it is. And she was even thinking right now, basically, the whole reason she liked Tamlin this is what she's saying, is because he showed her a sort of affection and caring, and he was like the first person to show her that, and so she just automatically fell in love with it. And she says basically she's kind of grown as a person, and she doesn't feel like maybe she should have fallen in love with the first person to show her love, basically, which I'm like really sad, because I thought that they were like a really good couple, but I get the problematic issues between them. He can't control her. He has a really bad controlling issue. But I also understand him, like, he's really nervous about losing her. She did die and came back, so like he faced that. Anyway, I'm interested to see what happens next, but I'm like, ugh, I'm nervous too. Hey everyone, I just got home from work. It is Thursday. I skipped yesterday's vlog because I had a huge migraine. Today I'm feeling much better. I did read a lot though yesterday. I finished Plantation Shutters, and I got a lot farther in A Court of Mist and Fury. Okay guys, so I'm reading A Court of Mist and Fury, and basically I'm really enjoying it, but like I have issues. Like, I hate that Feyre just left without saying anything to Tamlin. Like, I hate that she just sent him a letter. I feel like that's kind of like a conversation you need to have in person, but at the same time, like, I understand her side, that he just kind of like trapped her there and left. And yeah, so I kind of am really curious to see like what his reaction will be and what has been going on over there at the other court. I'm really liking what's going on right now. I like Rhys, but at the same time, it's just like, like both male leads are very problematic. Like, if you think about it, like that tattoo, like it spies on her, or is it just able to read her mind? Which is just kind of like as bad, like invading privacy in a way. But anyway, I like both characters, but I don't know. I'm interested to see what's going to happen next in our story. No, but I was recording and I recorded all. Holy crudsicle, Batman. I finished A Court of Mist and Fury. Whew. What a roller coaster. Man. I meant to update yesterday, but it was just so chaotic when I got home. I had to be with my dogs and everything, so I didn't update. But, man. Whoa. I'm processing it all still, I guess. So initially I was like, Tamlin, I felt bad for him, and I felt bad for Lucien, and then that whole backstory between Tamlin and Rhys gets dropped on you, and you're like, whoa, wait, what? What? This is shady. And then and then everything happens with Rhys and Feyre, and they get together, and it's like, yes, I ship this so hard, but at the same time, I still do have those other feelings at the same time, even though I know Tamlin's terrible now. But I feel like his love made him crazy. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that was crazy. All of that, like, back and forth at the end. But it was super satisfying, and it kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time I was listening to it. And now I can't wait to start the next book, because I'm like, well, what the heck's gonna happen next? So, man, what a way to end that book. It was fantastic. I hope this series ends in a good way. I'm nervous, but I'm hoping it ends in a very satisfying way. Both books were really interesting to me, kept my interest. Even though they switched the love interest on you in the second book, you can still ship it. Even though I think both guys were a little bit problematic, it's fine though. I'm fine. I'm gonna push that to the side. But yeah, Tamlin just really is so in love. He has no idea what is about to happen. And Lucien, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for Lucien. But at the same time, he's mated to Elaine. What? Anyway, yeah, I thought it was freaking fantastic. It was a great book. I can't wait to read the next one. Yesterday, actually 2 days ago, because today's Friday, I think it was Wednesday, I also happened to finish another book called Plantation Shutters. And basically, Plantation Shutters is a little Cajun mystery set in Louisiana. And it's like a whodunit. It's a very basic whodunit. Someone gets murdered in a little B&B, and it's a mom and pop B&B, so basically a murder on the property is really bad for business, and there's a lot of background going on with the person who was murdered and a few other people that stayed in the B&B, and it was really interesting, and I thought it was just cute, an overall cute story, and I love the backdrop of Louisiana and the South. I thought it was a pretty cute story. I have the second book that I'm going to start here pretty soon. It's called Body in the Bayou, I think. But I'm looking forward to starting that too. Just not as much as the next Acotar book. Yeah. I rated Plantation Shutters a 3-star. It was just kind of cute, like a little average mystery. Anyway, that's my check-in for today. I'm planning on finishing The Secrets of Sebastian Beaumont and maybe starting the next Acotar book. But anyway, I will check in with you guys later. Kaida bear. Kaida bear. Look at my bear. Oh, look at you. You're so cute. Oh, aren't you cute? To do a bear? You sweet. You sweet bear. Look at that tail. Oh, yeah. Good bear, Will. Kaida. 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 Oh, sweet sister. You sweet. You sweet bear bear. You sweet bear bear. Yeah. Kaida. You're just wanting all the attention for yourself, aren't you? Look at Kaida. Hey everyone, just checking in. I've been listening to A Court of Rings and Ruin, and my goodness. I probably will complete it today, which means I've completed it within 2 days. Wow. There's a lot going on. It's definitely way more action-packed than the previous 2 books, because there's so many battles and we're in war now. But excuse my dogs. So there are a few things that have kind of stuck out with me in this book. Like, I've really enjoyed Cassian and Azriel and seeing the relationships develop between the characters. Nesta, she's such a put out person, but she's still enjoyable. And I really do like Cassian and her together. I just think it's a little funny that it seems like everyone is being soulmated, which is kind of interesting because I thought it was supposed to be a rare thing, but then a little bit of dialogue went ahead and like solved that issue. And basically all they said was, well, our souls are mated and we're physically like meant to be mates too. And I guess there's like that practical soulmate where like they would create the best offspring. So supposedly Rhysand and Feyre have like the actual like star-crossed soulmate kind of a thing too, which I kind of was like, what? I thought soul mating was supposed to be like rare. But anyway, and then Lucien, I really like him. I like that they brought his character back. I liked hearing more about his background and finding out what happened to him and where he came from technically, which is fantastic for him. And then Elaine, like, she's alright. I like that they made her a seer. That's a little bit better, but like, she's kind of like a boring character to me. She's just nice. And everyone's obsessed with protecting her because she's nice. And I just feel like she's kind of boring. Anyway, yeah, hopefully that air condition in the background isn't too loud. Sorry, guys. So, and then Lucien, poor Lucien, like, he's just really trying, and I hope she returns his affection soon. What else has happened? Battles are interesting, and seeing them training was interesting. I liked hearing about Feyre practicing more with her wings, and I'm actually really excited to see if this is ever adapted into like a movie or a TV series. I think that would be fantastic. I think it would do really well too. I think someone has the rights to it, but nothing has come of it so far. And also, I've been listening to the Acotar book playlist on Spotify, and it's really just like a perfect mood as well. So there's that. I guess that's my check-in for right now. I probably will record a little later when I have more that I remember and that I want to talk about, but yeah, that's my check-in. Hey guys, just checking in. I am still reading A Court of Wings and Ruin. A lot just happened. There was like this huge epic battle, and the girls saw that their father was there after so many years of not being there, and I was just like, yes. And then the fleet, and that was nice. And then after all of that, you think Amaranth's betrayed Feyre, and I was like, wait, no, Amaranth's an awesome character. She's like one of my favorite female characters in the novel. How can she be betraying her? Like, it wasn't like something I could comprehend. I was like, no way. And of course I was right because of the twist that happened. And I was like really scared for a second because I thought Cassian and Nesta were gonna die, and I was sad for them for not having time together, for kind of like fighting this sort of bond. And the king coming up to them, and I was like, whoa, what's gonna happen? There's no way. I was like, if Cassian is really close to death, like, isn't Nesta, like, doesn't she control death? Like, couldn't she bring him back technically, or couldn't she bring her father back technically? I'm not quite sure of her powers entirely, but, and of course I don't think she is either, but she's extremely powerful, and I wouldn't be surprised, since they've kind of alluded that she controls death in a way. Also, all the other like immortals that got killed, like we have the bone carver, and we have the weaver, and a couple others. I was just thinking that the bone carver and the weaver were way scarier than Amarantha or any of the other like evil bad guys, and I was just like, they're creepier. And the Sorial, like, oh my gosh, that devastated me. I think the Sorial, the bone carver, and the weaver are way scarier of characters than Amarantha or the king or any of the baddies that they've kind of had to face in this novel or in the series of novels. Like, the evil characters are kind of cheesy and kind of cartoony evil-y. I don't know if that makes sense, but I was devastated when the Sorial, the bone carver, and the weaver got killed, because I was like, man, those were really good creepy characters, and I thought they were really well written. Anyway, so as I'm thinking Cassian and Nesta are about to die, who comes along but little nice boring Elaine and stabs the king in the back. And I was just like, she wants me to take back my boring comment, but I'm not gonna, because like, the cauldron didn't even want to mess with her because it liked her, because it didn't see her as being bad, it saw her as being nice, and it didn't want to take anything from her. And I'm just like, really? The cauldron even thinks she's just nice? So, and then it gave Nesta that moment to cut off the king's head, and I was like, yes. And then, oh my gosh, the cauldron is broken, and Amarin is released from her body, and it's sad because she's gonna forget her life there with them, and she kills basically everybody, the whole fleet of the king's army, and her spirit is gone. And I just thought that was so sad, because I was like, oh, she's an awesome character, and I really always wanted to see more from her. And then the cauldron's broken, and it's like the rest of the world's gonna be over now because the cauldron's broken, and apparently the cauldron holds all the power of the universe. So Feyre feels like she has to fix it, and otherwise they're all doomed, right? And then Rhys is helping her hold the power, and she turns around, dude's not breathing. I'm like, what is going on now? Excuse me? And let's go back and talk about Tamlin. Like, so far, I mean, I wasn't entirely surprised that he came and like rescued them when they were in a tight spot, and he still gets hate. I understand. I just think he's like suffering from trauma underneath the mountain with Amarantha, and I still feel bad for him. And like I said earlier, I think both male characters were problematic in some way, and I think they both have good traits too. So yeah, I still feel bad for Tamlin. Nothing's gonna change my mind on that. I mean, I don't think. Anyway, yeah, so I'm just gonna see if Rhys comes back to life now. I kind of think he will, but I don't know what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna continue and finish up here in just a minute. Okay, I still have a couple of like resolution chapters left, but Rhys is back. Are we surprised? I'm not. I kind of expected that to happen. I mean, the Sorial told her to stay with him and everything would be righted, basically. all of the High Lords basically gave him Life Force, and then Tamlin came, and I was like, of course Tamlin's gonna give him Life Force. And he did, and he just said to be happy to Feyre. She didn't think he was gonna give her anything for Rhys, but see, this is why I feel bad for Tamlin, because I know he genuinely loved her. Like, it's sad. And then we're lucky because Amaran's back. Guys, I wasn't expecting that one, but yay, Amaran's back. Okay, I'm gonna continue. Hey everyone, just checking in. I finished A Court of Wings and Ruin. I absolutely love the series. I know there's one more book after this, and it's kind of like an in-between book. And I'm hearing that there's going to be a fifth book coming in 2021. So I'm excited to see what happens next. I think this wrapped it up pretty well. Anyway, this turned into more of like a vlog reaction than a summary and week of reading. But that was kind of fun to record my feelings on this series that I know a lot of people really like. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good series. I really enjoyed myself while reading it. And yeah, I did have a few problems though with some of the characters and like the backtracking on certain characters, and though there were a few things that kind of stood out to me that were kind of detracting from the story, like certain words that they kept being repeated, like barked or maybe shuddered as well. I think there were a few more. I just can't remember now all of a sudden, now that I'm recording it. I wish I would have written it down, but barked was one that just kept bringing me out of the story. And I did have a few problems with some of the other characters, like the cartoony sort of villains and the mischaracterization or the flip of a character trait that doesn't make sense. So those kinds of things I had a problem with, but I am looking forward to reading more Sarah J. Maas. I think overall the story is entertaining and I highly recommend it. Let me know what you guys think, if you agree with my opinions. I know I have a lot of like conflicting opinions about characters, especially like Tamlin and Rhys, and yeah, I do definitely want more of Cassian and Nesta, and I would like to see Elaine be more interesting too. So yeah, those are my feelings from the week, and I think I'm gonna read the next book in the series this coming week and finish off The Secrets of Sebastian Beaumont. I kind of got enwrapped and involved in figuring out what was going on in Acotar, and I kind of let that book slide to the side. And yeah, I will update you on my feelings on that book when I get there. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next week for another week of reading.